Hello and welcome everyone to Salesforce Women Tech Group Kolkata. We are here with part 6 of Pardot Zero to Hero workshop. A very quick introduction about me. My name is Khyati Mehta. I am a proud Salesforce marketing champion. I was recently featured on Salesforce blog for my outreach work. Professionally, I work as a Salesforce developer at Cognizant Technology Solutions. I am 4x Salesforce certified. I am a community speaker and a trailer mentor as well. I love blogging. My blog's name is All About Salesforce, and I also host a podcast in India, which is Salesforce Offbits with Khyati. So we are running a few contests in this workshop. There will be a Kahoot quiz at the end of the part 6, and there's one more contest wherein you can post or tweet over LinkedIn and Twitter. Post about your key takeaways, your likes and dislikes, anything you want for part 6 of the workshop, and you have to tag with Kolkata, the group's page, Pardot, myself, Khyatu07, and today's speaker, Prashant. His username is PVP Vardhan4, and also use hashtags with Kolkata and with Pardot. And a winner will be chosen at the end of the day. So the agenda of the workshop is this 8-day workshop will include everything about Pardot with detailed demos wherever applicable. The workshop is planned in a detailed exercise manner so that it helps trailblazers understand everything from scratch about Pardot. We have an amazing lineup of marketing champions to cover the exercises and offer their guidance. Please note, we will not be able to provide any practice work, but will do our best to include detailed demos. We will also try our best to cover all the release updates for each topic. We have our today's speaker. His name is Prashant Vardhan. He's a technical lead. He's also 10x Salesforce certified. He's also a community group leader and a trailhead mentor. Over to you, Prashant.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you for joining today for the session on Pardot scoring and grading in dynamic list. So let me share my screen and turn off the video as well for better quality. Okay. Yeah. Give me a minute. I'm trying to share the screen. Yes. Come on. Okay. I hope you guys are able to see my screen.
We can see your screen.
Okay, let me make it presentation mode. Presentation mode as well.
Not
No.
yet.
Okay. Okay. Just give me a minute. Probably enough. Yes. Right. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you all for joining today. So for today's agenda, right, we'll be speaking about first why do we need to bridge the gap between sales and marketing, and later why scoring should be considered, and we'll be also speaking on how do you customize the scoring and grading, and what steps you need to take care of during auditing process. Okay, as scoring is a continuous process, and later we'll be speaking out how you can integrate with sales cloud as well, and get the insights into the sales cloud so that sales team also can concentrate on that. And later I'll be walking you through the entire process of scoring and grading as well, and then I'll be also speaking on dynamic list, which was not covered earlier, so we'll be also speaking on the dynamic list as well. So do note, while I will be speaking on the scoring and grading part, you will be noticing that there are some topics that have been recently covered, and where scoring is being utilized as well. And at the end I'll be wrapping up and providing some resources as well on scoring and grading, and at the end we'll be having a Q&A session. Post that we'll be having the quiz. So why lead qualification and lead management is important, because to just make sure that the sales and marketing team have a gap, right? So ideally the marketing team just tries to market the entire list of prospects that they have got using emails or probably some advertisements as well, to make sure that sales team have are properly efficient as well, and make sure that they have their efficiency increases a lot. So that's where the marketing tools have come up with this scoring and grading as well. So in this slide that I'll be speaking about, like what is the traditional approach currently sales and marketing team is following. So what happens is sales team goes and generates leads, okay, and then marketing team supports via collateral emails that triggering out the emails. But with the current marketing automation that we are having in different marketing tools, right? So we do have this. First, what happens is marketing team tries to trigger out emails and generate proper leads rather than dummy leads that generally sales team procures as well. Instead of that, what happens is marketing team first generates leads and then initiates relationships through multiple email conversations, and then based on the scoring and grading, right, it will definitely say that this is a valid prospect that sales team can start working on to make sure that it becomes a proper deal for the sales team as well, right? So what is the difference between a scoring and grading? Okay, so first, scoring, how interested a prospect is in the company, something that score definitely says. And grading, how interested the company should be in the prospect. Okay, so for example, in the scoring, right, if I am a prospect and I am interested in Mercedes Benz or probably Salesforce products itself, right? So I'm trying to interact with the account executives as well to make sure that I get my Salesforce instance. And what I'll be doing is I will start reading the emails that account executives start sending me to procure the instances. Okay, so when I open an email, right, so that's where the tool starts to analyze that I'm very much interested in the products of Salesforce. Okay, so it starts giving me some points. Okay, so when will I be interested in reading the company's emails? When I am interested in a specific product of a company, or else I'm interested in the company itself, right? So that's where it shows how interested the prospect is in the company. And where does this grading comes, right? So probably out of 100 prospects, 60 to 70 prospects are interested in the company, right? So and since I am also interested in the company, I might not be ready to purchase a product, right? Because see, in a company there might be some 10 to 15 levels of employees, right? Starting from the basic to the C level employees as well, like CEO, CTO, right? So definitely you will be having managerial level of employees as well. So if a normal employee like me who is a developer, right, I cannot make a decision to purchase a product, right? So I'm just a developer who is helping the company to run Salesforce instance. But as a developer, I cannot make any decisions to make sure that the company purchases a product, right, which will be useful. The decisions are made by the top level employees of the company, right, who influence the market trends of the company, who influences company's decisions, right, in purchasing a product or procuring some licenses also. So make sure that who influences that and how company should be interested in the prospect. That's where grading comes into the picture. Probably it will be more clear when I start showing you it in the demo as well. Again, like bridging the gap between sales and marketing. Okay, so it's the same thing again, based on a prospect's website activity, engagement with the emails. Pardot score tells how interested a prospect is, and based on how closely they match a specific criteria like job title. Okay, and then some other category like region also. That's where Pardot grade tells you how interested you should be in a specific prospect as well, right? So, and then what happens is we generally speak in the terms of MQL to SQL, which is called marketing qualified lead to sales qualified lead, right? So marketing qualified leads are people who have ample score, and they're trying to access emails, read emails, click links in the emails and all, right, based on this which we score. And once they are marketing qualified, that means they have reached a threshold of score. That's why they become a sales qualified lead, so that the sales teams are efficient and not working on the unnecessary leads or unwanted leads that are still coming into the system, right? So, and the other part is lead management or prospect management, right? So that means after you have some every marketing tool has got a database limits ideally. So Pardot also has got database limits, but still you can expand it on a basis of blocks of prospects that you can purchase. So the base model of Pardot will give you around 10,000 prospects. Okay, so it's a 10,000 mailable prospects limits, right? So if a small scale company is trying to procure Pardot, and they have got some 10,000 prospects, that means it has already reached the limit of the prospect database, right? So they have started engaging all these 10,000 prospects, and few people are not interested, but they are still not unsubscribing from the mail chains, right? That means they are not opening the emails, they're not reading the content, right? But still they are trying to receive the emails, which is waste of time for the marketers to target a specific prospect, right? Because he's not going to make any deal with the company, and spending a time and effort and money on a specific prospect is a waste, right? So then obviously that's where database hygiene comes into picture. Okay, so you try to evaluate few prospects whether they have activity or not. If they have activity, you try to retain the prospects. If they do not have activity, you try to clean up the database by marking them as do not emails, or if people have already unsubscribed from the email chains, they mark it as opted out from the mail chains as well, right? So that's where you try to get more space for new leads into the prospect database as well, right? That's where the hygiene comes into the picture. Okay, so the next part is what are all the features inside a marketing tool which will help you to influence the Pardot scoring, right? Pardot scoring or grading, which I would be combining both. Okay, first thing is page views. Okay, so there might be two scenarios over here. So first scenario is uh, prospect who is not registered inside a Pardot. That means the data is still not there in the system. That we call it as a visitor. Okay. Second person is a genuine prospect whose data is inside the Pardot, right? So how does Pardot tracks this activities and give them a score? It's through cookies. Okay. So we have third party cookies, first party cookies, and currently we are trying to move it to no cookies as well, to make sure that we comply with the we are ready with the future, right? So these cookies stay in the browser and will try to help the marketing tools to make sure that the visitor or a prospect is interested in which part of the website. Okay, or if I am a registered prospect inside a marketing tool, right? So the cookie will still try to retain my information and help the marketers to understand what kind of products I'm interested in. Okay, so if I'm a customer of a specific e-commerce portal, and I'm trying to view specific categories, probably a MacBook Pro that I'm trying to visit again and again, right? That's where I am showing my interest in purchasing, but due to some probably higher cost, or probably there is not much discount that I'm getting, right? That's where I try to not purchase the product, and I'm trying to wait. But I'm doing a regular search of that particular product. That means I'm trying to regularly visit that page, right? So every time I visit a page, it tries to associate that activity onto the cookie, and cookie sends back it to the marketing tool, that's Pardot, obviously, and it will store the information as well inside. The more the visits, the better the points that I get allocated with. Okay, that's where I can run an automation rule on the basis of that, providing some coupon codes or so. And based on the score as well, I can say, yeah, this guy is definitely going to purchase this product, but he just needs some push, probably through some discount, or probably through some coupon code as well, right? That's something the scoring also helps. Second thing is site search. Okay, if you're trying to search a specific site, telling their products priorities as well, and interest in a specific product, right? That's where you can influence the Pardot scoring as well. And downloads. Okay, so I am a researcher, right? So I'm trying to download some white papers from a specific website, right? So in that scenario as well, I can make sure that if I am downloading a paper, that means I'm interested in that specific research, right? So that's where these specific downloads are good indications of the current stage of the buying cycle. Okay, it might not be a down white paper, it might be a product images as well, right? So based on this, you'll be able to score even the prospects, right? And email opens. This is very very important for a marketer to currently, because of the Apple iOS restrictions that the bots are trying to open the emails in by the Apple itself before the actual prospects are opening, right? So you can totally start exempting this, but still it's a valid point that for Android users, or else Gmail users also. So when you open an email, you give a specific points to us, the prospect, which indicates that he is actually reading the emails. He's actually trying to open the emails as well, right? And then email clicks. Yesterday, Soumya was mentioning that custom redirects, and the links that you can directly prospects click on it and open it, right? That's where you embed this custom redirects in an email. Okay. And when a prospect like me opens an email, clicks on an email, right, clicks a link on an email, right, I'll be redirected onto a specific page, right? It's an external page that it will be redirected from the email to a new window in a browser, right? So based on this clicks, right, when I just do a click on that, the cookie will start collecting the information on which link that I clicked automatically, and it will send out to the prospect database, that's Pardot, right? So that's where when I click on an email as well, there will be a specific points associated with my profile inside Pardot. And during further process as well, the scoring will help the marketers to identify as well. Okay. So like trying to identify people by using a segmentation rule, which Soumya was mentioning yesterday, right? So by using a segmentation rule, you can divide the prospects, or segment the prospects on a basis of link clicks, email clicks, right? So you can do that as well. And third thing is the other thing is landing pages. Okay. So I have a landing page and I'm trying to visit that landing page. People who visit that landing page, I would like to associate them a score. Okay. Be it a visitor, be it a prospect, I just want to assign a specific score, right? So that's where I can associate landing page submissions, landing page visits. I can alterate the scores as well. Okay. So probably if someone is visiting a webinar, okay, or else we do generally visit Salesforce webinars that happen regularly, right? So post the webinar as well, if you're trying to view the webinar again, Salesforce will send you a webinar link. Similarly, how we are doing in the communities, right? So we do send out post webinar links, right? So when even a Trailblazer community groups will send out emails, right? So after you sign up, probably 2 week email, that the session will be happening in 2 weeks, or post session you'll be getting emails with YouTube link and all that, right? Video link and all. You just click on that specific link, you open, you watch the video, right? The moment you click on it, the webinars will send out the information that this specific person has opened the link. So associate him with specific points, 10 points, 15 points, 20 points. The points that you configure will automatically be associated, and the score also gets associated. Okay. So again, like custom links as well, that I spoke in the email clicks again. And then the videos that I covered it in the webinars, it's the same. Okay. So on what are the features that can help you customize the scoring. Okay. Scoring rules, which is basic, that can customize the scoring, that can help the marketers customize the scoring. Automation rules, which was covered yesterday. Those are actions inside an automation rule that can help you customize the scoring as well. Completion actions on a form that can help you customize the scoring as well. And bulk import of the prospects. Okay. So this is a regular scenario. What happens is people try to migrate from one marketing tool to another marketing tool. Generally I saw is moving from HubSpot or Marketo to uh, Pardot. Okay. This is a regular customers that I'm seeing these days, that they're trying to migrate from HubSpot and Marketo to Pardot because of the tight integration between Sales Cloud and Pardot. Okay. So during these imports, you would like to retain the existing database of the prospects. Ideally, that should be as a best practice as well, to make sure that people are the marketers are aware which prospect is a valid prospect, rather than doing it from the beginning. Otherwise, like, marketers have to start from zero again, right? Which is a waste of time, waste of effort and money as well, right? In that scenario, what you do is you while you import the prospects into the Pardot database, you will be able to even import their current score as well. Though you cannot import the activities associated with that, but you can import the score into that. And the last thing is, visiting the prospect page manually. Okay, as a marketer, I can go into the Pardot, search for my name, visit that particular prospect page and start editing out my prospect score as well. That's something that is also possible. Okay, so the thing that I was speaking of earlier was scoring rules. Okay, we do have default scoring rules, which as a best practice, Pardot has provided us with as my experience also, I try to utilize the base scoring what Pardot has provided us with, unless there is some kind of requirement that typically says you need to definitely make sure that the score points are more for a base score. Okay, so for example, custom redirect should definitely have 5 points, where the basic is 3 points, and customer definitely wants that to happen, right? Irrespective of the business units, or irrespective of the database completely, or the kind of links as well. The base score has to be 5. That's where I go and manipulate the base scoring. Otherwise, I keep the default scoring as is. Okay, as a best practice, I follow that. And as I already told, right, automation rules. Where do you use automation rules? There are two ways where you can use an automation rule. One is lead decaying, and the other part I'll be covering in the next slide. So lead decay. So what do you term? Why do you term it as a lead decay? If a particular prospect is not doing some activities, right, or else he has been inactive for a period of time. Okay, so that's where lead decay comes into the picture. Okay, so you will be able to match a specific criteria, which I'm showing you on the screen, right? You can just say prospect time, or else last activities days ago is greater than 90, or that means 3 months, right? So if it's already 3 months, right, then ideally if there is no activity happening on a specific prospect, that's when the marketers do realize that there's not a lead that is really interested in the product. Then let's reduce his score, rather than increasing his score or keeping the score as is. Okay, reducing the score, why does we need to reduce the score? Because it helps the other marketers who are targeting audiences, or else the other sales team as well, who are trying to target this specific lead. They will definitely know that this guy or this prospect is not really interested for the past 90 days, and we should stop targeting this particular prospect. Okay, um, and then prospect score, if it is, you have a threshold of some 500 or 600 points. Okay, and the prospect score has not reached that specific point yet. Okay, that means he might be still interested, but he might not have a specific good amount of time to read your emails, right? So by base score, I give 10 points as a base score, or else I would like to start with 0 until he reaches 150, right? He will be still be nurtured. Post 150, we decide whether this is a valid prospect or not. Okay, that's where you try to match the criteria, and then you do a completion action by reducing the prospect score. Okay, you can do negative. Yes, negative scores are allowed inside automation rules. You can give -100, -200, -5 as well. You can, it's not that you will have to choose an option somewhere else. No, you have to just indicate that, and Pardot has got that capability to identify it is a +100 or a -100, and it will automatically associate, or automatically calculate the Pardot score as well. The other part, through automation rules, which you do having, is resetting a score. Okay, so probably there is a specific prospect who is not having any activity for the past 1 year or so. You would like to, there is a customer requirement. Recently, I had a customer requirement that says, hey, they have recently migrated from Marketo, but they do not want to retain the data of Marketo. So what they told is, since we have retained already, now I want all the prospects to be 0. Okay, because I want to start fresh with the prospects, right? So that's where, again, if that is a specific scenario where a client asks for you, then you cannot go do it manually for 1,000 prospects, 10,000 prospects. You do not do that manually, right? You should not be doing that manually ideally, because as a marketer you need to know what are tools present inside, say, Pardot, right? That's where you try to create an automation rule. You set the score without even having a matching type, right? You can definitely say, hey, just go with an action with adjusting prospect score to 0. That's it. It will take few minutes. Automatically it will start resetting the score to 0. Okay. And probably completion actions and page actions that I spoke about earlier as well. If there is a form that a prospect is submitting, and the base points are 50, and you would like to have for this particular form to be 100, right, as a points for us for the prospect, that's when you associate in the completion actions of the form, right, in the completion actions of the page actions, right, you tend to give him additional score. Okay, you will be definitely seeing that in the demo as well, how we do that. You can see that in the image. I'll be sharing the slides, because if at all you would not you don't have time to visit the video, you can just go through the presentation to see how page actions and completion actions are trying to influence the scores as well. Okay, in the page actions as well, you do have two ways of scoring. So one is specifying the page as well. Okay, or else you just need to say, hey, career slash Salesforce, career slash Pardot, right? You would like to have the page has got different sub pages as well. That's where you can just give a wildcards as asterisk, and automatically based on that, Pardot will no matter how many times he visits career slash Pardot, career slash Salesforce, the Pardot will give him or associate him with a score as well. As I told, right, while you're importing the scores prospects as well into the database, you can always try to have the score adjusted as well. Okay, you can see that in the slide over here. So manually, as I told, you can go visit a specific prospect page and then try to associate the score as well. So this is how you try to influence the Pardot score, so that it helps the you know uh, mm, it helps the sales team and the other marketing teams as well to identify a valid prospects, or perfect prospects in instant. Okay, so next comes the auditing. Why auditing is very important is you need to regularly check how well your scoring mechanism is. Okay, so probably after a period of time, you would like you would have noticed that the scores of a prospect has been humongous. Okay, 10,000, 8,000, 9,000, right? That's where you try to audit the scores. Okay, you would like to say which is a good score, which is a bad score. You try to identify that, and based on that you would like to say define the prospects on the basis of good score and a bad score as well. So how do you identify it as a good score is on a basis of range of active prospects created last quarter. Okay, score range of active prospects created in the last quarter. In the last quarter, if at all you have got some 500 to 1,000 prospects. Okay, so how are those 500 to 1,000 prospects scored? Okay, what is the range of that specific score? Okay, so that's something you will have to identify first and decide whether it's a good score or not. And what is the average score of this entire quarter on of the prospects that you have received. You will have to identify that. If the average score is very very less, that means probably though they are doing some activities and still the average score is very very less, that's where you need to revisit your scoring model and check whether the scores are appropriate, so that they get converted into a sales and become a sales qualified, right? So for example, you give a score of 10 and they are not reaching threshold after doing many activities, right? If you're doing that stuff and after 3 months as well they are not reaching your threshold of becoming a sales qualified, right? There is no purpose for you to have scoring mechanism again, right? So after 6 months, after 1 year, if they're still not reaching, that means you have a bad score, right? So that's when you will have to visit your scoring mechanism and check where the scores are not influencing the prospect. Okay, so where you will have to identify that and then cover it up with giving additional points also for the prospects, right? Then you will have to see in which part of the score range the active prospects are falling on the top. Who are all the top 5% of the prospects, who are all the 10% of the prospects, 25% of the prospects on the basis of score, right? What is your ideal score? Even opportunities also influence scoring mechanism of a particular prospect. If a particular prospect has got close won, he will be added plus 50 or plus 100. Or if he's a close lost, right, we reduce the scoring. Okay, that's how we actually follow. Okay, so how many opportunities have been closed by for a particular prospect, that you will have to identify that. Okay, average overall account score. Why did I speak that? Is account based marketing is becoming very prominent and very important these days. So if you would like to have a overall account score as well, then you can definitely check it out, how well it is being scored. Okay, so this is prospect breakdown as well. And this is how after post integration with Sales Cloud can look for you. Okay, you can have a page layout where you can host all the Pardot fields. Okay, so they get automatically created with the B2B package as well. And post that, the score gets automatically synced with the Sales Cloud as well, where sales team can have a view of what's the score as well. And as a consultant, right, we do prefer Pardot score rating as well, which you can see down below. It's a custom field, but it's a formula field we try to build to make sure that we have a 3-star rating, 2-star, 5-star, right? So instead of helping the sales team to check by themselves like what is the ideal score, we give them using these visual representatives as well. This is one good feature that we tend to help the customers during implementation as well. That's something you can try implementing if you haven't done earlier. So you can see the formula as well, that's in the right side. You can just try to use that formula as well. Okay, before going to the dynamic list, I would like to cover one topic called scoring categories, which I didn't cover in this entire part. So what this is about is, if I have a uh, you know uh, particular piece of products, like for example, I have inside Salesforce, I do have Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Consumer Goods Cloud, Pardot, Marketing Cloud, and whatnot, right? There are somewhere around 15 to 20 clouds inside Salesforce currently, Media Cloud and all, right? So that's where I have these many products, right? But as a prospect, okay, I have a specific prospect, and then he's trying to analyze all these products. Okay, so he's trying to understand which product suits him better. So he's trying to visit Sales Cloud form, submit the Sales Cloud form. Okay, he's trying to visit Service Cloud form, submit the Service Cloud form to view the webinars. Okay, and he's trying to visit other products as well, like Pardot, Marketing Cloud, and all. Right. So now I would like to grade him on the basis of products as well. Okay, so till now we are seeing just Pardot score 1,000, 10,000, right? But now I would like to say, inside Pardot score as well, I would like to say Sales Cloud score is 200, Service Cloud score is 300. I'm speaking of products. Okay, I'm not speaking about the clouds over here. It's a product. Okay, so other example you can see is Amazon. If you're trying to visit mobile phones, electronics category, okay, fashion category, right? So for each category, I would like to have a dedicated score. Okay, so that I have different teams. Fashion team who is concentrating on fashion, people who are interested in fashion. I have teams who are concentrated in mobile phones. Have you ever noticed that I visit a specific mobile phone, and then later point of time, you get from Amazon or a Flipkart saying that, hey, there is a deal running on this page or product, right? Or else these are the mobile phones which are in lightning deals, right? Or else deal of the day, right? You have you ever noticed such emails you are getting? So how are you getting these emails? Is so when you visit a specific page, right, on or a particular product, they tend to grade or score on the basis of products as well. Okay, so that's where scoring categories comes into picture, and you can define categories on the basis of products. You can define categories on the basis of country of residence. Okay, because I might be selling products in a specific USA, and I might not be selling them in Singapore or Southeast Asia, right? I might not be selling them in India, right? So that's where scoring categories will definitely help you. Okay, to identify that as well. Okay, so that's something I'll be showing you in the demo. Okay, so I'll be quickly covering a dynamic list in a couple of minutes. Okay, we do have dynamic list again. Okay, so inside segmentations we do have static list and dynamic list. Okay, static lists are a kind of manual list where you can go manually add a person, remove a person as well, or use automation rules to influence the static list. But dynamic list you cannot do that. You set a specific rule, okay, and it will start adding the prospects or removing the prospects automatically if they are not matching the rule. Today Prashant has matched the rule and he has been added to the dynamic list. Tomorrow if he is not matching the rule, he'll be automatically removed from the dynamic list. Okay, so you do not need to go and manually remove him again or check whether he is part of that list or not. Okay, that's something you can do through a dynamic list. So use case where I use dynamic lists are uh, when I try to segment prospects on a basis of opportunities. Okay, so you do not have this segmentation of opportunities, segmentation of prospects on the basis of opportunities through engagement studio. Okay, so I have a journey. I try to make sure that the prospects flow through the journey, and there I have a condition to check whether prospect opportunity is closed won or closed lost. If it is a closed won, I would like him to end the journey. If it is a closed loss, I would like him to receive some other email categories, or associate with him with some scores or do some kind of stuff, right? So that's where engagement studio natively doesn't have a prospect opportunity status kind of prospect fields. Okay, so that's where we try to utilize dynamic list. Okay, first what we do is we try to write a rule says opportunity prospect opportunity is closed won or closed loss. We try to segment them into the dynamic list, and inside the engagement journey, right, we try to check whether the prospect is part of that list. Okay, you can utilize dynamic list inside engagement journeys. You can utilize dynamic list in triggering out list emails as well. So that's where you try to check it out. Okay, is he a part of that list? If he is a part of that list, obviously the opportunity is closed won. If he is not part of that list, then obviously he's not the opportunity is closed lost, right? That's where I have defined the rule criteria, right? That's where dynamic list will help. It will continuously check for updated prospects, as I told. And when a prospect's information changes as well, the dynamic list checks if they must be added or removed from the list. Okay, so that is what a dynamic list is. So best practices for dynamic list. So it reduces data skew, limit the frequency of API updates to prospect information. Yes, you can obviously connect Pardot through with your external systems to Pardot APIs as well. Verifying dynamic list logic is very, very important. You tend to revisit these dynamic lists again and again and check whether the conditions are specifically matching or not. Consider a building. You can always dynamic list will give you a preview, so you can always do it on the go. Whenever you would like to do it, you can build a dynamic list. Okay, use a completed list as well. Do not use a list which are incomplete and you're still trying to build the criteria, right? It's not that you tend to say, hey, your manager comes and say, hey, build a list with opportunity close one, but you will have to check other criteria as well. Okay, please do keep in mind while you build a criteria, if the lists are not completed, do not use them. Okay, build a proper list, completed list, and use them as well. If always remove unnecessary dynamic lists. Do not ever contain dynamic, because dynamic lists run all the time. Okay, these are real time in nature. Okay, it will tend to exhaust the performance of the Pardot as well. So if a specific dynamic list is not being used, remove them. You should be deleting them completely from the Pardot database as well. Okay, so that's all. No more speaking of the slides. Okay, so let's go to the demo part. I know it's been exhaustive, but Pardot scoring and grading is a pretty vast topic where many people lack because they don't know how to set the system as well to run. Okay, so I've logged into the Pardot. Okay, so I'll just go to one of the prospects page. Okay, and I'll try to show you a prospect. Okay, so when I go to the prospects page, you should have noticed that I have two columns over here called scoring and grading. Okay, so I have a score which says 303, 152. See how the activities of a specific prospect is trying to influence. I do have grades which says it is B, B, C, C, D, C plus, C minus, A plus, A minus as well. So each letter has got three grades. So if it is A, it will be A plus, A minus, and A. Okay, A being neutral, or A plus is the higher one, a higher version, and A minus is the lower version of the A. Okay, so which I'll be showing it in the grading as well, how it gets graded. Okay, so if I'm just trying to open one of probably this. Okay, you could have also saw that 152 has got B and 303 has also got B. Okay, right. So that's where I was initially covering as well, that prospect score says how well the prospect is interested in this company or a product. Prospect grade says how well the company should be interested in the prospect. Okay, it's a vice versa. Okay, so if I'm just trying to open this particular prospect, you should have noticed on the right side that every activity is associated with a score. Okay, be it a view, let me just increase it to 15. So be it a view, be it a form submission, you can see they just viewed the form, that's why it was 0. If they have submitted the form, success, that means it's giving 50. Okay, so that is all, and you can define on the basis of categories as well. So what is this category, right? I have different products like expense management or payroll, right? I can just say expense management and see what are all the forms related to expense management that he has submitted. Okay, what are all the forms related to payroll that he has submitted? He hasn't done any activity related to payroll. Okay, so he has done only on the basis of expense management, right? So that's where categories come into picture. If I just scroll down, right? So in the slides you nowhere has saw this one, right? So you only saw the first line but you didn't see the second option that is there. That is what I was speaking of about. Okay, that's called scoring categories. Okay, I define it in the back end, and based on the activities it will automatically start grading. Okay, so we have this saying inside a marketing team, right? Set the scores and forget. Okay, set the scores and forget. You do not need to go and see if this is doing correct, this is doing correct all the time. But for auditing purposes you can do it per quarter basis, or probably per half yearly you can do that kind of stuff. You can see again that we have grades as well over here. So let's go and see how you can build it up. Okay, anything you'll have to go to the Pardot settings. Okay, and in the automation settings of Pardot you get to see the scoring. Okay, so when you click on scoring, right, so this is where you tend to define the scoring categories and you tend to define the scoring rules. Okay, so these are all basic scoring rules. Okay, so this comes by default. Okay, so you can define for an advanced edition of a Pardot, you can define 50 scoring categories. Okay, so currently we have two, right? So I'll show you how to edit a scoring rule as well. So you can see this. Okay, it will ask you to review the documentation before making the you know changes to the scoring as well. And I tend to choose, if I just say file access, right? Currently it affects 3 points, like base is 3, right? But if at all you would like to have it 5, I can make it. But Pardot also has the ability to say it affects 1933 prospects, that there are almost 1933 prospects inside the system, and you're trying to change the default one from 3 to 5. It will obviously make the entire file access of 3 to 5. Okay, it will definitely change, right? So similarly you can do all of them in a one go as well. Okay, so you can just define the scoring rules directly from here, right? If at all you would like to see whether it is default or not, you can see file access is 3 points. If I am trying to make the change, right? So let me, sorry, I might have clicked something else. Pardot settings, automation scores. Okay, so I try to come over here and say a custom redirect click is some 10 points I would like to give, and click on save changes, right? So automatically custom redirect changes to 10 points. Okay, from now on all the prospects will be awarded 10 points for every custom redirect link that they click. Okay, so where you can do that. And probably, for example, there is other way around. Okay, so I say, okay, so custom redirect, I set it back to some 3 points again. Okay, and say for a specific custom redirect link, I would like to give him 10 points. Okay, not 3 points. Okay, the base should be three. That means if I have 10 custom redirects, it will be applicable for all things same. So I have 10 custom redirects, and out of 10, I want only one custom redirect to have 10 points, but rest all I want only three, right? So what I can just go to the automation section over here. Okay, and oh sorry, content for the custom redirects. uh, and then I just go to the custom redirect section, find my custom redirects. Okay, I have few over here. Okay, so probably okay, we have only two. So the banner ad or else paid social post is a custom redirect, right? So I try to edit it. Okay, and then I have completion actions over here, right? So I can assign adjust score for category. You're seeing this, right? So I can define, say, adjust score plus or minus. How you should be seeing this points beyond the default score value. That means it will first take 3 and then the score that you are giving. Now I want 10, right? I should not be giving 10. If I just give 10 over here, it will take 10 plus the base score of 3 and combines it and gives him 13. Ideally it should not be the case for me, right? I should give him 10 score, not 13, right? In that scenario I just give 7. Okay, that's where it takes 7 plus 3 into consideration and do that stuff. Okay, and the other one that I was speaking about, right, I would like to give him adjust score for category. If this particular link is the category of expense management, I choose expense management category, and expense management also has got the base score of the same default categories. So I give him 5. Okay, and say save custom redirect, right? So the moment I just click on that, you can see the completion actions, which specifically says adjust score plus 7 points, adjust score for scoring category plus 5 points. Okay, and prospects who have clicked this link, right, they will start automatically from going forward, they'll be automatically start scoring on the specific links. Okay, so that's how you tend to influence different content scores as well. Okay, you can do it on the basis of forms as well. It's not that you should only be doing on specific things. You can do it on forms wherever you find completion actions or actions, right? You can always influence those things on the basis of um, you know scores as well. Okay, if I'm just coming to the completion actions, I tend to adjust score and say plus 50 points again. So it will take base point of 15 into the consideration, and it will totally give you 100 points for a form completion, right? And again, like I do have again scoring categories again over here, and I say payroll, it is 10 points, it will give 60 for this specific category, right? I do have that ability as well. So if at all you would like to see that, right, if I just open this particular link and try to fill out my information, let it load. Come on, yeah. So let me fill out the information as well. So I say Canada and click on register. Okay. The moment I submit, right, so this has been submitted and there is some information that has happened, right? So I can just refresh this page. Okay. And check for prospects. I am saying today, you can see my prospect has been submitted. I just open this. You can see the score is 100. Ideally, if it should be 50 points itself, but it is 100. I open this. I go to the prospect. You can see, right? I have an overall score of 100. I am meeting specific criteria for the scoring category as well. That's why it is giving me expense management as 50, and payroll it is giving me 10 points because I gave it 10 over there, right? So that's how this try to influence over here. You can see my activities as well. Ideally it should be 50 points because when I submitted it's the default score. But why did I got 100 points over here? Because I tried to influence the Pardot form scoring and gave him plus 50 points, right? That's how you tend to give additional points for a specific content or criteria or files or probably some page actions, right? You can do it as well on the basis of page actions. You can find them in the content section as well, like where you can just go to page actions and then give them as well. Okay, probably on landing page visits you can do, or else custom redirects you can do all this stuff. Okay, probably on emails as well, if at all you would like to do that, right? You can also do that on the basis of emails as well. Okay, that's how you tend to give them. Okay, so how do you create a scoring category? In the scoring category, right, you will not be asked about anything else. Okay, all you need to do is just create a scoring category. Probably demo is my scoring category. Okay, and I just need to choose a product, so somewhere like I just say it's a website. Okay, and choose the selected one. Okay, where I would like to place this information, and by when, from when I would like to have this started, right? Whether I would like to have all historical activity in the sense previously I might have clicked on few custom redirects which are now being associated with this particular category, right? In that scenario, if at all you would like to have all the historical activity included, you can choose that. Otherwise, you can just create scoring category. The moment you click on this, it will automatically get created. Okay, and you can also always come back and edit it again. That's absolutely fine. And you do not have other options, but you can only just delete again. Like where you can influence the scoring category, you do not have the ability to directly add them over here. You will have to visit the forms contents to choose the category and then associate with them the points. Okay, so that's how you tend to influence the scoring. Now coming back to grading. Okay, if I am trying to use this, right, so by default Pardot assumes for each prospect to be having score of grade of D. Okay, post that whenever a prospect matches a specific criteria of the profiles, right? So you can find it on the prospect section and under segmentation called profiles. Okay, so you can see that there is a green color thumbs up, right? That means that it has matched the criteria. Okay, that's why for location it has matched the criteria. That's why we are giving two-third of a letter. Remember, I was saying it like each letter has got three: A plus and A minus, right? That's where you tend to say that the letter has been divided as one letter. That means it is A. If it is three by three of the letter, right, then obviously it will take into consideration as A plus, right? Or if it is one third of a letter, that means one, right, it will consider A minus. If it is two-third of a letter, it will take A. Okay, so it is A, is two-third. A plus is three-third, three by three. And then if it is one-third, that is A minus. Okay, so how do you set all this? It's a kind of tricky to set all this. Okay, so first you go to profiles. Okay, and then you try to define the profiles. Okay, so if I'm just trying to do this, right, I have some already one default profile, right? So by default you get this default profile. You can always edit this profile as well. Okay, and say company size, right? The criteria is the name of the criteria. Okay, you do not define company size greater than 100 over here. Okay, that's why I told you it's kind of tricky. You say just company size. It might be you can just say even size as well. It doesn't matter. Okay, whether you're properly inserting the field name or not, you can just say size of the company or size or company size. It doesn't matter. You just say company size. You give them two-third of a letter, one-third of a letter, or one. Okay, or else you can define multiple criterias like this. Okay, and specifically say, hey, for if a particular person is matching this particular profile, then for company size it's two-third, industry it is two-third, location it is two-third, and automatically automation rules that we are going to see next, right? So how the grade will automatically associate the prospects for a grade. It will try to consider this letter grades and then try to influence that. Okay, now you have defined a profile. Okay, you can define multiple profiles as such. It's not that you need to have a single profile. You can create a custom profile as well like this and say one-third of a letter for company size as well. Okay, now what you'll be doing is once you create a profile, this is where the tricky things comes into picture. You go to automations, choose automation rules. Okay, it's because if you are trying to define a profile, you will have to manually go to a specific prospect and click on that thumbs up button, right, where you're having, right, whether it is matched or not matched. That's where you try to choose manually. Okay, but if you have a database of 10 or 15 prospects, you can just go and do manually. If you're having thousands of prospects, right, that's where you try to automate this process using automation rules. You're seeing this, right? I have couple of more than couple of automation rules that are trying to define the grading. Okay, so if I'm saying, if I just go to one of the rule, right, so try to edit it. Yesterday, you might have noticed what Soumya was mentioning about automation rule. You have rules that match the criteria, right? And then you have actions. Okay. So, for example, I have a prospect whose country contains Australia or Ireland or Canada, right? So, if a particular prospect's country contains this, I am saying action should be change profile criteria. Okay, it is change profile criteria. You can choose the grade profile, whether it is custom profile or default profile. Okay, and you can choose location. Okay, you can choose location, whether it is location. You remember the criteria that we were defining, right? Company size, department, and all. Here is where you choose that one. Okay, you choose that criteria over here and say whether matches. Okay, you do not say one third, two third over here. You already defined it in the profile, right? You just choose the criteria and say whether it is matching or not. Okay, when you say matches, right, then automatically that thumbs up will go into green, right? If it is not matching, right, thumbs down goes into green. Okay, if it not known, right, then none of the uh, thumbs up or thumbs down goes into green. That means it is not matching. It still be in the blue color itself. Okay, so even this, right, uh, why you need to make sure that you have utmost care over here is there are two things. You will not be visiting this grading again and again. Okay, so when you are trying to set up this grading, you will have to make sure that the criteria are perfect or properly matching or not. Okay, visit them again and again. Okay, visit them again and again, test them again and again, make sure that they are valid rules and all. Okay, and then, right, uh, yeah, so and then I'll just take a couple of more minutes and we can close it up. So you can make sure that you can repeat the rule as well. Okay, so make sure that again and again, if at all you would like to match them, you can always complete that as well, right? So the last part is the dynamic list. All you have to go to the segmentation list, okay, and just click on add list. Okay, and try to say, hey, this is a dynamic list, and choose the category, and you just need to select dynamic list over here. Okay, and just click on set rules. The moment you click on set rules, you have the criteria to attach them. Say campaign status is a specific status, right? Is sent or responded or so, and preview or run rules. That's where you get the number of preview matches and you can run the rules as well. Okay, so that's it for the demo part, and I'll just quickly wrap up. You have some links over here where you can just go through them later point of time once you get the presentation deck as well. So even the scoring has got Einstein scoring, which I cannot show you because I do not have that. So Pardot has got Einstein inbuilt as well for few editions, and for few editions it might be an add-on where Einstein will help you to score as well. You can find it in the link embedded over here. Okay, so you have any questions, do let me know. I will be able to answer them.
Thank you, Prashant, for such a wonderful session. It was quite insightful. We do have a question for you. How can you differentiate between visitor and prospect?
Oh yeah. So visitor is a person whose profile is not contained inside Pardot. Okay, it's like I am a kind of a visitor, and I haven't filled any information yet. Okay, so it's like I didn't submit a form, I didn't become a prospect in your system, right? So that's where we are treated as visitors. Okay, we just try to randomly visit pages. We just try to we are still anonymous. As long as you do not have an email, you become a visitor. Okay, as long as the marketer has got your email, you become a prospect. Okay, that's a thin line between visitor and a prospect.
Thank you for answering that. If you guys have any questions, please drop it in the chat box. Prashant would be very happy to take it all. Vicky, the PDF will be shared in the event page. And Swati, all the recordings for the videos have been shared in the YouTube channel that has been provided in the chat. We do have a question. Can we use dynamic list as public list?
Absolutely. You can always use a dynamic list as public list. Yes, that's correct. You can use that.
Best practices to control the contact count in Pardot.
Okay, so I already mentioned this. You can use DK lead model, okay, where you can just try to DK the prospects who are not doing multiple activities or who are not active, and then you can mark it as do not email, not opted out. You should be marking it as do not email. Okay, when you mark it as a do not email, as a best practice, what I'll be doing is I'll be mentioning it in the comments Pardot comment section. So there is a Pardot comments field where I'll be saying that, hey, this specific prospect is not having activity much from longer period of time. That's why I am marking it as not email, so that other marketers like me who are working are aware of this activity that I'm doing. That is one of the best practices. And if there are as I already told, right, no activity, just mark them as do not email so that you can retain the space for other prospects.
Thank you so much, Prashant, for answering those questions. Thank you for such an
Thanks.
insightful
Thank
session.
you.